Hello and welcome. My name is Wendy Byford. I am the co-founder and president of Your Entity Solution and the founder of Yes Roundtable, where we take women from startup through building out their structure to be able to scale. And I have as my guest today, Tony Carnesi. Now, Tony is a recovering CPA on a mission to help growing businesses move from surviving to scaling. He believes that timely and accurate books are the foundation of every great success story, and I can attest to that. But they're just the beginning. When you need the clarity of professional bookkeeping or the high-level strategy of a fractional CFO, they provide the financial leadership that you need to make confident, data-driven decisions at every stage of your journey. And having your financials done properly by people who know what they're doing is so important. So thank you, Tony, for being here. I really appreciate it.
Wendy, thank you for having me. I'm really looking forward to having some fun with you today.
Well, great. So first question, for those people who perhaps have been saying, look, I'm going to save a little bit of money, I'm going to do my own books. What would you say to them about that?
Well, think about cost versus value and think about what else could you be doing? All right. For most business owners, folks, entrepreneurs who begin their business, doing bookkeeping is below your pay grade. Marketing is more important. The technical work that you provide is more important. The business development, the relationship building, all those things take precedent over, oh, I've got to do a bank rec today. And it's a matter of being willing to let go and suck up that cost and say, okay, find a bookkeeper that fits your cash flow, try it out. And the key is, well, we can get into it, so I'll stop right there but that's the basic answer to that question. Once I get on a roll, it's kind of frightening.
Well, I understand that having a bookkeeper is really important. And there comes a point at which when people are, they're making money, they've got a bookkeeper, but what is it that they should be expecting from their bookkeeper? Because it's more than just putting numbers into QuickBooks or whatever. There's so much more that a really good bookkeeper can do.
Yes. And the key is, what do you want to know? First, you have to ask yourself that question. What do you want to know? Typically, we can start at the top. How much cash do I have? How much do people owe me? How much do I owe other people? How are my sales doing? And if you have various products, various services, what am I selling more of? And then you can and then when you know those things, number one, if you know your cash flow, your cash situation, okay, I'm good. Oh, I've got to go collect that money. Oh, I have to ask for a little bit better terms from my service providers and vendors. I'm selling a lot of this, but that's taking a lot of time or a lot of resources. Is that really the most profitable thing I should be selling? So a lot of things come up. So you have to really ask yourself, what are the questions at the top of your head that you want more information today? And start there. What do I want to know? Typically, when I walk into a business, I look at a business owner. What do you want to know? Okay, that's going to be on the report that we give you at the end of the month. What else do you want to know? And that's, they might hear these terms, dashboards, things like that. So whatever you want to call it, it's a matter of what story do you want to see at the end of the month that's going to be clear to you.
That is incredibly important because so many times people are doing things, they're selling products or whatever. They may even be selling a lot of it, but it's not profitable. And, some of the questions that people have that determine whether you've got a job or a business. The business owner wants to know not just what I'm selling, how much I'm selling, but which lines are profitable and which are the most profitable.
That's true. Most business owners are enamored with that top line of revenue. As I spoke to one client many years ago, Tony, and they were a $3 million business losing $300,000 annually when I arrived. Tony, I want to make this a $9 million business. And we had been talking about working a lot of things at that point in time. And I was a little frustrated. So I looked at him and I said, so you want a $9 million business so you can lose $900,000 a year? And that's the point of, hey, with this revenue, how much should you be making? My goal as as providing the bookkeeping, and if we talk about the CFO services, is what's going on in between the top line and the bottom line, and how can we improve that? Because when it comes to the top
That's
line, I can give marketing. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Tony. Finish your thought.
And then when bookkeeping and accounting gets involved with the top line, it helps the folks doing the marketing and the selling what they should be shooting for. Because if we see that this is more profitable versus that, well, then we should be targeting this and not that. So we do help with the top line, but that bottom line is where we focus to improve, so more goes into the pocket of the business owner.
It's interesting that the numbers really drive everything in the business. And I know that people don't want to hear that, right? Because for some people, math scares them. And it's just a fact of life. Maybe it was the way we were all taught arithmetic in school or something. But the fact of the matter is that the numbers drive everything in the business. And understanding your business from the financial standpoint and having somebody that can walk you through that, who can sit you down and say, this is what the numbers are telling you, is incredibly important. And so maybe as people start to earn more and more money, they don't need just a bookkeeper. They need someone who has more expertise, who can say, great, your bookkeeper's done a wonderful job of putting the numbers in. They've got all of the expenses in there. That's really wonderful. Now let's see the picture that this is telling you.
Yes, and a picture tells a story, and the story, what I like to call it, should be simple. I'm a big fan of the KISS principle. So the numbers that I provide you should jump out from the page and tell you exactly what you want to know. And then if you see something that doesn't look right, then we can discuss digging deeper. To give a business owner a whole bunch of numbers, they're not going to look at them. You know what they're going to do? They're going to go, oh, I have no idea what this is. I'm going to put it in a drawer. But now, if you say, oh, my profit margins are good, this number doesn't look right. Hey, Tony, what's going on there? Then another report comes along where we can dig deeper. So we start at the top, simple, clear, concise. Then when you want to dig in, we provide you the additional information as you need it.
That's really good, because I think for most of the people who are watching this, time is really important. And the last thing that they want is so much information that they're actually overwhelmed and they don't know what to look at.
Absolutely. So, it's yes, right on.
Great point. Tony, give me an example. You talked about the person who was losing money and still wanted to grow his business. Give me an example of somebody that you've helped be successful through the services that you offer.
All righty. Well, one of my first clients, he was a manufacturer of jewelry, and his profit after he sold the jewelry, for those of you who know, the gross profit was 30%. He was paying a lot of his people overtime to finish the jobs. And I said, why do you pay all these people so much money on the weekends? Well, they don't finish. Then we looked at his gross profits compared to the industry. He was underperforming by a vast amount. He was at 28%. The inventory average was 32%. So with his bookkeeper, I developed a report card, a dashboard for him to look at every month. And through it, he started to implement budgets on the jobs, watching the profit margins. And what we did was, it helped the folks, and it was a manufacturing company. His manufacturing manager now knew that there were checkpoints along the way to check on his folks to make sure that they were on budget. So using the budgets along with the bookkeeping. So his gross profit percentage, his profits after just selling the jewelry, forgetting overhead, went from 29 to 38% in a span of 2 years. And it was looking at the numbers and managing your business by the numbers. That's where it helps. And from a simpler standpoint, I just took on a client this year, and brand new bookkeeping client. And he's like, oh, some investors want to see a financial statement. I have to call my CPA. I said, no, you don't. That's what QuickBooks is for. What do you want to see? Okay, we can do a compact financial statement to send to an outside investor, or you can have an expanded statement to tell you what you want to know. So with those choices in mind, we sent a compact financial statement to the investor in a matter of 24 hours, and it was no big deal. He was like, oh, that's the advantage of having a bookkeeper versus asking my CPA to do a financial statement. So those are two instances, one a little bit on the more CFO end, higher end, and one is still at the beginning, investment phase of the business.
Perfect. So Tony, tell me, how did you get into this? It says that you're a recovering CPA. Have you always been in the financial area?
Yes, I have. My dad was an accountant, so I decided to be an accountant. And when I was doing public accounting, so I went to become a CPA. I was preparing financial statements for clients. This was at a big firm, BDO. And then I went to Citicorp. I learned how to tell a story in Citicorp for management. If you want to learn how to prepare a report for managers, work for a big company and realize they like to see big numbers and big pictures on a report. Okay. Then I got into smaller businesses. And that's where I really found my home, was in smaller accounting firms. And one day I said to one of the partners at the end of tax season, this one client, their margins are shrinking. Something's not right. Can I go in and try and help them? I said, Tony, that's not what we do. And that's when I realized I wanted to provide those CFO bookkeeping services to help clients see what they needed and to help them grow versus, oh, we need a report at the end of the year for the bank. Here we are. I mean, we were on the same level of the necessity of taxes. And it was no fun. So I wanted to bring value. And that's the first day I said, I'm going to provide controller, bookkeeping, CFO services to my clients. That's the role I really want to play. And that's how I got here today. And I like to say, and I hope I can say this on your podcast, recovering CPA, those letters, but I remain a CPA. I am a certified pain in the ass, because when you want good numbers, you're going to get good numbers. Because I did auditing for a long time. I could rip apart anybody's set of books and figure out what's right and wrong and give you some clear numbers. But now my challenge is, as that CPA that I am now, what are you going to do with them? What's the plan and how can I help you?
Perfect. I can't imagine being able to work on any kind of a growth plan without having good numbers beside it to let you know exactly what to do. So having someone like you on the team is really, really important. So
I agree.
Tony, I'm going to put up how people can get hold of you. So if you would like to talk to Tony about what his company can possibly do to help you with the growth of your business, there is his website, carnesibookkeeping.com. Also, you can find him on LinkedIn. There is his LinkedIn, Tony Carnesi #1 on LinkedIn, or you can email him, help@carnesibookkeeping.com. So make sure that you reach out to Tony and let him know kind of what you're planning to do, what you think that you need, and have a conversation. He's really easy to talk to. So Tony,
Wendy,
thank you so much.
Thank you. It's fun to talk about this stuff.
It is. I love learning about financial people and what it is that they specialize in and how they really help people, because I know that so many people are afraid to ask about finances, and yet having somebody who is fun, who's easy to talk to, makes all the difference when you're growing your business, so that it's not a horror show when you pick up the phone to say, hey, I need some help. So for those of you who are not, you are so welcome. For those of you who are not in the Yes Roundtable yet, here is how you can find out more. You can go to the website, yourenitysolution.com/yes-roundtable, or you can text me 702-462-4616, and let's have a conversation. Let's see if there's a fit for what we do and what it is that you need. So Tony, thank you so much. I appreciate this. And I hope that we'll be talking again in the future. You take care.
We shall. Thank you very much. So long. Thank you.
Everybody, you have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.